sir. Welcome back. It's been a long time, man. How's everybody doing? Here we go. The commissioner's conversation. We are live here at Stanley's. We right here on Button the Road, man. Right off Camp Creek. And we kicking it. We back. And I appreciate everybody for coming out. Got a lot of familiar faces. Got some new people in the building. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. We get ready to chop this mug up, have a little fun. It's a lot of stuff going on that we have not had a chance to talk about. We haven't had a chance to get together and laugh and argue and go back and forth. We missed it. I missed y'all, man. So I'm glad to be here at Stanley's with you guys again. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because it's kind of where we left off on the last season, I'll say, of the commissioner's conversation is Deion Sanders and Colorado. When we kind of left, that was one of the last episodes. We started off, and everybody felt a certain type of way about Deion leaving Colorado. Leaving for Colorado. People felt a certain type of way about him leaving Jackson State. And we won't get into those particulars, but I had one simple question that nobody seemed to really answer. And as we got through the season, I kind of understood why nobody really had an answer for it, because it was not a straight yes or no answer. And my question was to everybody was like, yo, what does the first year's success look like at Colorado with Coach Prime? And nobody could answer that. Nobody could answer what. So, and that's what people are saying. People are saying now better than what they did before, but at that time nobody knew, because was it a bowl game? Was it a national championship contender? Was it? So they had won 3 games in 2 years. They had won 1 game the season prior. But what wound up happening was, as the season, we got into the season, and Deion brought it. He had the hype. He brought his luggage. You remember everybody had the video. I'm bringing my own luggage, and my luggage Louis, and all this stuff. And he was basically amping everybody up, and everybody was buying into the Colorado brand. And for a person like me who sits and observes, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is still a program that's won 3 games in 2 years. And you're getting ESPN, nationally televised games, the spring game. And he got a bunch of hype. And as the season started, he looked good. The team looked good. They had some good games, some close games. And they won some games. And I had a few friends coming in. They was jumping in on the Colorado bandwagon. They were thinking they were going to go all the way and they were going to ride Coach Prime. And then, for whatever reason, injuries, the offensive line, defensive line looking real suspect. For whatever reason, they started losing games. And they started losing steam. And ESPN basically kind of shushed them to the side to where you didn't see those games. But here we are at the end of the season, and I'm asking again, was this season a successful season for Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes? And so I say this, but before you get started, I say this because I thought at first, I was like, yes, it's a successful season, because Deion had folks staying up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning watching college football, that some teams that typically you didn't really give a damn about the year before. You didn't really care to see Colorado versus Colorado State. You didn't care to see Arizona State. You didn't give a damn about none of that. But with Deion there, Shador there, Travis Hunter there, you stayed up to 3 o'clock in the morning. But I would turn and I flip it and I say no, because you won 4 games and had the opportunity to win probably 2 more games and get into a bowl game. And you
went to bed.
If Colorado goes to a bowl game, in my opinion, if Colorado goes to a bowl game, they damn near signed Deion up to a lifetime contract. Because, go ahead.
So, to your last point about people on the East Coast staying up to actually watch the whole game when viewership for Colorado was never that good. Viewership for the Pac-12 was never that good. So your question was Deion and Colorado seasoning success? It's a two-part question. Deion as a brand, Prime as a brand, was extremely successful. Colorado as a program was successful because they won more games than previous. Revenue for the school was through the roof.
True.
Was through the roof. All those things, like, you talking about wins and losses, they were more successful than the previous years. They got a long way to go.
They do have a long way to go. But there were a lot of fans who jumped on the Colorado brand at the beginning of the season, and I started hearing a lot of people who never even spent any time in Colorado refer to Colorado as we. And and
the Prime effect.
Us and it's the black school or it's the new black school and all this stuff. And then once they went through and the season was completed, you didn't really see that anymore. You didn't really hear a lot of that anymore. And so, do they deem it unsuccessful? Do you want to?
Well, people.
Hold on, let me my man. Hold on, run it down.
Thank you, man. First of all, as far as the success, I don't think people really stopped watching. I haven't watched Colorado play since Cordell Stewart. You know what
exactly.
I mean? It ain't. But I watched every game. For them to be televised almost every game, other than the blowout that they had the last game and the game against Oregon, all them games was close. They were very close, and along with the Prime effect, I think it was a humbling experience for him that he's going to learn from as a coach and getting kids to buy into his program. But I mean, I think it was a alley-oop for next season. They didn't have to win 8 games to be labeled successful. He was successful, like my brother said. I mean, the revenue for the school, the exposure for the school, the people that watch it. My girl was watching it. She don't even watch football. She don't even but she loves Prime. She loves how he is as a family man, how he treats his children. So that Prime effect, wherever he go, he's going to be successful. I mean, I don't know nobody else like him with similar, such an explosive personality. Maybe Shaq, gets everybody, locked in on him like that. But as far as a program, I think they're becoming. They got Warren Sapp coming next year. They got a lot of entertainers that's bought into him. Gilly Gill, it was a very, very. I don't know any other season or any other team that will be labeled as successful as he has. Wins is one part of success,
right?
But everything else that come in, the development of those kids that play for him as young men, how he's locked in. I don't think no other team I've heard of before has had that much effect on the children in the program.
I agree. Deion brought a swag to Colorado that Colorado hadn't seen before. He put a little spice in the mayonnaise, so to speak, because, like you said, he had Lil Wayne, he had Gilly, he had all these stars on the side, and he had these kids believing in themselves. He had these kids believing in themselves that probably wasn't believing in themselves before.
See, I agree, but we looking at the style factors. The point about it being a coach, the X's and O's.
Right.
He mismanaged some games down the stretch.
Definitely.
And it was a circus. It's a great thing to bring exposure, but you have to have substance. When he won that first game and he said, well, I'm keeping receipts.
Yes.
See, it's the art of war. He wasn't he was doing things in a check-like fashion instead of playing chess.
Yep.
And he didn't take accountability as a coach. All of that fanfare, when I looked at the athletes on the field, that level of discipline was not there. And see, we can sit and say because we give him a pass because, he's black. But the truth of the matter is he's a collegiate coach. He's a leader. And look at successful Nick Saban is.
Right.
As many 5-star athletes he has, he never conducts himself in that way at a press conference.
Well,
we as a people, we want to always give a person a pass just because they're our color, and we don't want to give them constructive criticism. There's no way you lose those games, a couple of those games in the fashion that you lose. It's because of the leadership that came down. You have to play chess, and he was out there playing checkers. I don't care who's on the sideline, all of that between the lines, he didn't get it done.
Now I can agree with that in terms of
I really can agree with that.
what I was saying earlier was the fact that he did put a lot of pressure on the kids with a lot of his trash talk. He put a lot of pressure on there, and as a player, he could handle those situations. But you don't know how a lot of those young guys, 18, 19, 20 years old, how they handle those pressure situations with the spotlight being on them, with a target being on their back. And I think it boosted some, and it may have.
I got to about look. Deion Sanders, who he is, we feel Sanders is not going to change. He's not away from it. Deion Sanders is who he is.
Correct.
We fail to understand that he is who he is. He's not going to change. No way, shape, or form. So we're going to tell the man because he's not a great coach, but he is a great leader. We cannot take that away from him. Now, as a great leader, you got to put people around you to make you succeed. Okay? He might not did a great job at that. But yet, hold on, that portal's about to open up.
It's also year one, and to your point, I want you to finish, but to your point, it was also year one. He's putting together a collection of coaches. Yeah, he's putting together a collection of coaches.
That's the point I'm trying to make. You
And it's kind of trial and error.
You're not going to get it the first year.
We
want him to win. We want him to win like he going to come in and get 12-0. He's not going to get 12-0.
The young lady was saying that she thinks that he can manage some games. And sometimes I think that goes to who your offensive coordinator was, and then go to who your defensive coordinator was, some of the plays that were being called. Prime is not only the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, he's also the CEO of that program. So what he's going to have to wind up doing is he's going to have to find people who can fill those positions and take it to the next level as he would take it to the next level.
And that's why he's bringing in Warren Sapp.
Fact.
He's bringing in a monster. He's bringing in a defensive coordinator. But you have to understand that people don't never want to hear the truth.
True.
I'm gonna tell you something. People do not never want to hear the truth. The truth is he do not have the players to win.
Right.
So, and I said, he said it. That's what Deion said. Deion said, he said, what I'm gonna need? I need a line. Yeah. Everyone will get mad at him. He said, you don't get mad at him because he told the truth. Them kids need to go home and get stronger, get tougher. You know what I'm saying? The whole 9 yards. That's what you're supposed to dig in. But see, nobody said when he made them kids believe they was God the first three games, 4 games, he made them nuts big as all get out. Yes or no? He made them feel that they were God.
Well, but with that though, I would say what Deion is going to have to do moving forward, what Deion is also going to have to do is he has to come to Atlanta. He's got to go to Alabama. He's got to go to Tennessee. He got to recruit some big boys, and he got to recruit some big boys. You can't just rely on that transfer portal. While the transfer portal is open, you got to go get some. You got to go get a foundation. You got to get a foundation. We go with that.
So to my point, to the point, I think that sometimes there's a learning curve.
Right.
And so Deion didn't come in, even when he went to, even though he came from Jackson State, he just brought his fame, and that did something just to put eyes on even that program out there, the SWAP, program. So Deion coming over here, when we talk about Nick Sabans, who had all these years of, they had years ahead of to finesse their game and their style and learning from NFL coaches. So he has to have a chance to do the same thing too before we get hard on him. I know because it's flashy. Sometimes we think it's only one type of style of person or coaching. There's more than one style. He just brings another style. All people don't all have to be. All black folks are not the same. Some are conservative, some are flamboyant. Everybody's not the same, but we got to give him a chance to build. Now, once he gets in year 2 or 3, then I think it's a fair judgment. I just don't think it's fair to assess. To assess
Well, what I will say also with that though.
That's one more point too. When they talk about his personality, the only error is Deion was used to being Deion since we've known him. The bravado. The difference was he wasn't the one on the field playing games.
True.
He could handle it. The players showed that they couldn't with the criticism.
Did all the players show that they couldn't? Or was it just some of
Enough
them?
for it to affect the team.
Right.
Enough for it to affect the team.
So what? I like Coach Prime in the fact that, like you just said a second ago, we're all a little bit different. Deion reminds me of some of those old school coaches. When we grew up out of football, every coach was different. Every coach had a little bit of Bobby Bowden wasn't the same as Steve Spurrier. You know what I'm saying? Every coach had their own little flavor, a little flair. And right now, all you get is these cookie cutter coaches that get up here and they say the same old thing over and over again. Well, we gotta review the tape. We gotta watch the guy. Deion came out. He did say, "I'm taking receipts." He told USC, "You better win now. You better catch me while we down." Or he told me, "You better catch me while we down." So I like that because I feel like football needs that. You know, a lot of these games have gotten so vanilla that, you know, there's no flavor in the game. So what you want to say?
Okay, I just want to say this. Two things, right? For one, like, it's not about giving Deion a pass, but let's be realistic. Let's be realistic. It's just like you can't judge Deion like you can't judge Robert Saleh from the New York Jets because he's lacking quarterback play. So the owner, Woody Johnson at the Jets, already said he's not going to fire Robert Saleh because he haven't had a competent quarterback. Fast forward to Deion. Let's look at Deion, right? Deion is smarter than what people think. Not only did he market the program to attract recruits, but Deion already knew that the team wasn't going to make it past more than 3 to 4 weeks.
He sure did know that.
Because let me just tell you something. Jackson State, when he was at Jackson State, y'all remember his first year? I think he went like 3 and 5 because it was the COVID. The second years he went undefeated both times, and he lost in the Celebration Bowl, right? Deion, they said, Deion, when you got an undefeated team, why you not matching yourself against Alabama or one of these Power 5 conferences? What he said, my team, they're not ready for that type of pressure. He said that I'm not going to put them. Deion knew that he didn't have a full recruiting season, y'all. He came straight from Jackson State. He came there knowing that his players were undersized. He tried to rely on athleticism and talent instead of technique this year because he didn't have a player personnel. So overall, I think that we should give him a break and see what he do with a full recruiting year. And secondly, Deion, y'all got to realize, Deion didn't really have the experience to be a coach at a Power 5 conference. That's why the head coach, the AD at Arkansas, remember when he tried to interview for the job, said he had all the tools, but he didn't have coaching experience. He was an offense coordinator, as you know, on the high school level with Dallas. What Deion really need to do, I don't think that an NFL style offense will suit him, even though the NFL is a mass league. He need to recruit one of the top college offense coordinators. You know, you got your defensive coordinators. Let them call the plays, run the plays. And what he need to do is learn after this year. He need to take this year and redshirt and let the coaches coach. That will help him in year 3. Because I see them win about 5 games next year. And then year 3, I think they're going to be about 7 and 5 or 8 and 4. And they're going to be real bowl eligible.
So quick question, I was just getting ready to say that. So for the next season, having a base of 4 games, starting out 4 games your first season, you don't think that it's a legitimate ask that you strive for a bowl game next season?
He will, but let's just be realistic. It's going to be a lot of first-year players, and he's going to lost a lot of people in the transfer portal. But the good thing about it is he's going to a better conference where he can win now compared to the Pac-12. Because the Big 10 or the Big 12 is a lot more easier for him to win.
The Big 12 is in shambles.
Exactly. He'll have a lot more to win. And then he's going to recruit. He's going to transfer portal. And they're going to improve over time. But the thing I would like to say about Dion, because I actually went to that game, my friend in the back there stated it the most. He mismanaged a lot of games. Imagine October the 13th. I was at the Stanford game when I said my friend. I said it was 29-0. Y'all saw the game. I was there. I got the pictures. I seen them single-handedly go to number 13 from Stanford. And this is why I was pissed off, because I had betted Colorado. But the fact is, it just showed me how Dion really wasn't ready for the moment. And this is the point I'm about to take. Dion failed to make the adjustments. They went to him the last second hand. Dion them just scored another point to like overtime. But they didn't double down, right? So I'm like, damn, maybe Stanford is really a decent team in the Pac-12. The next week, Stanford played UCLA and got blown out. I knew then Dion them wasn't gonna win. They don't know the game. So the key to like what everybody been saying, he got to surround himself around talented college coordinators. Because Shador not ready to run a pro-style offense because he hasn't been around it. You know, you can get all the Tom Brady advice you want, but coming from HBCU to Power 5, and I'm a graduate of the University of Georgia. You see the offensive and the defensive line. You see the offensive and defensive line in Georgia compared to that. They can run, you know, it's only so much for the triple option or the RPO you can run. In college, you know you need a line. Because you don't really get that much of a pass rush defense like you do in the NFL, but they line can't hold anybody.
So, hold on, before you pass the mic, bro, real quick, your expectations coming in for year 2 for Colorado?
5 games, 5 to 7. Okay. And that way, you know, because realistically, we want to say he's going to win 8, 9 games, 7 games, or even 6. You know what? No, he capable of winning 6, but you're going to have people in the transfer portal. You got to realize you got refs involved. You know, you're going to have different variables, people going to fall. Big injuries, big game jitters.
But how can, hold on. How can you say that when it was at least 3 other games they could have won? It was down to the wire.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
He could have won 7 games.
Let me get him right. I totally agree with you. No, he could have won 8. You're right. You're close enough.
And that's very successful.
I hear it, and what gets us as a people, we take criticism as a personal assault.
That's right. We do.
It's not personal against Dion, the man, the player. He played dual sports and all of that. But I was a coach as my profession. That's how I am. So me being a head basketball coach, I knew player development was my strong suit. I knew at times in the game I didn't make the proper adjustments, so I hired a staff. So we bring in Warren Sapp. When you lead such impressionable young people, you have to have strong character. Now on the field, Warren Sapp got it done, but his character. His character. You can't lead an 18 and 22-year-old with that type of vulgarity off the field. So at some point you got to become a corporate. You got to treat it like a corporation.
That's right.
That's why.
And Warren Sapp, okay, on the field, Hall of Fame. Off the field, no.
But you have a very valid point. That's why I called him the CEO. As the football coach, you are a manager, you're a CEO, and you have to put people in position to delegate. If you think that Warren Sapp, if he thinks that Warren Sapp can translate the language of football over this 18, 19-year-old young men, then we'll see. And we can judge him this time next season. We can judge him based off that decision. But right now, I'm I'm inclined to say that Warren Sapp, if he's just the D-line coach and not the defensive coordinator, I'm inclined to say it's an upgrade from what he had last season.
I just have the issue with what she said about criticizing. I mean, he didn't do anything that I feel like was warranted to be criticized. Now, critiqued is a different word. That means something different. I don't think he should be criticized for nothing he did because as a first-year coach in a Power 5, I think he did damn good because what is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to come in and say we're going to lose because this is my first year and I don't have all the players? No, he gave them boys hope. Like you could do anything, which is true. They was deficient in the offensive line, they was deficient in the defensive line. If they had better defensive players, or defensive linemen, defensive offense, they would have won 10 games. Flat out. And that was a very successful season.
So while you have the microphone, I ask you the same thing I asked him. What is your expectation for Colorado this season?
I think they're going to win more than at least 8 games. I particularly, and number one is because they're losing some teams in that conference. They're going to the Big Ten.
Right, Big 12.
Yeah, so they're going to have other teams that are lesser than those teams. So they're going to have more wins. And then they got better coaching coming in. They're going to have better players at the positions that they need. They already have high-profile positions covered, receiver, running back, quarterback. They just need a few pieces, offensive, defensive line. They're going to be a lot better team, regardless of his lack of experience as far as a coach.
But you know what? This is what I want both of y'all to answer. Hold on, keep it. This is what I want both of y'all to answer.
I'm listening.
To me, after that Stanford game, Deion lost the locker room. He lost the team. I want y'all to address that.
Well,
They didn't care no more after that.
I will say I felt like Deion lost the locker room when he started criticizing his own O-lineman.
I think so too.
And then followed that up with when they asked him about going to a bowl game, he said, "We don't care about no bowl game. Bowl game don't mean nothing to us." When he was talking about himself. He was talking about, like he was talking about himself that the bowl game didn't mean anything to him. But the bowl game means the world to these kids. The bowl game means the world to a young man who just won 1 game last season. Won 3 games in the last 2 seasons. The bowl game means the world to him. I understand that you preaching championship, but it can't be championship or bust. It has to be steps in this. It has to be building blocks. That's the only thing. When she's talking about criticism, I do believe that he mismanaged not only some situations in the game, but I do think he mismanaged some of the opportunities at the mic to build his guys up as opposed to just kind of tearing them down and say, hey, my O-line, they can look for someplace else to go next year.
I mean, to answer his question, for me, considering that when you look at every coach, if you listen to after every game, the first thing they say, we're not looking towards the next team. We worried about the team we playing next week.
Right.
So no, we're not concerned about a bowl game. I'm concerned about the team we playing next week. We preparing for that team. We ain't worried about championships. We're not worried about a bowl game. We worried about that team we play next week. So I don't think it was nothing wrong with him with that statement, saying that, because like she said, we're dealing with impressionable young men. And the job as a coach is to settle them down and put first things first. This is what's first. As we win game 1, game 2, we'll worry about that stuff down the line. Our focus is the next game, the next team up.
Now, I agree with that 100%, but I will also say, as a team who suffered from some traumatic losses, some very close losses, it's also a good idea to put a goal in front of those young men. We're definitely looking forward to the next team. We're definitely prepared to see what we do next week and the team that's in front of us as we strive toward going to the Capital One Bowl or the Music City Bowl, whatever bowl that they would go to, Nashville, Tennessee. We would look to go to one of those. So
That's the reason why.
at Clark County, we're doing all the time.
Mark Rick can't win that because you know what? Mark Rick will suspend your ass He wouldn't let you play. Nick Saban ain't gonna do none of that.
No, Nick Saban is a different animal. Nick Saban will tell you he's not doing anything.
That's the reason why he only won.
Nick Saban's favorite line is, "We've handled it internally." We've handled it internally. That's all it is.
Fred Gibson, we went down together. We went down together. He was like, they like to stand him the way out. Because the way he was like, he disciplined them. And you see, it showed.
Well, Mark Rick was a conservative and a very conservative guy. Mark Rick was a very conservative coach. And he recruited the same way that he believed, his Christian beliefs, that whole thing. And he recruited that way. Correct. He recruited that way. But I will say this too, though. When you go through that, that was also the reason that Georgia couldn't get over it.
Exactly. That's goddamn
Record
that. He is absolutely right. That's the point I've been making. Because think about it, most of your best players, they hood niggas. They ain't got no character, none of that shit. They down there. They really like we said in the program movie with Oprah. Dame Davis was speaking. No, they didn't. Think about it. Georgia had he recruited the way you just said.
With Urban Meyer. And we just literally watched that Urban Meyer had to leave Florida because he had no control at all. The boys was doing whatever.
Shannon said he spent more time in jail than Clay.
Shannon Crowder. They suspect Aaron Hernandez killing the dude at Florida while he was in school. Put the gun in the car, just went to shoot. The Pouncey brothers right there with him. You know what I'm saying? That's why they ride home. They had this, they were best friends. They had this whole documentary come out about Florida. They didn't touch on none of the shit that actually made you realize and understand why Urban Meyer actually left. It's good, but you can tell what happened was you had a Florida guy directing, you had a Florida guy producing it, and he didn't want to get into the dirt. He didn't want to get in the mud. He'll give you all the health reasons for Urban Meyer and all that shit. Yeah, you about to have a heart attack because Percy Harvin just slammed your assistant coach. Y'all got to a fight. You got one recruit coming in, Stanley is not QB. Beat the hell out of him. And that's a Heisman quarterback.
They all turned But you can read between the lines. When Tebow started getting all the praise, they all turned on him. All the players turned on him. That's when they started losing and everything went to shit.
So, but to go back to it though, to your original statement, talking about he's a cheater. They're all cheaters. It's just when the NCAA decides that they're going to focus on you, then they'll find something. You can close your eyes, throw a dart at any program in the world, and you say, let's investigate. You'll find whatever you're looking for. You'll find whatever you're looking for. So, to go back in, and we'll kind of wrap some of this up. We'll rejoin a little later.